Hello everybody, welcome to my missable tricks video for Zelda Breath of the Wild. What I like the most about this game is that there are so many things you can discover. Some crucial things are easy to miss though, especially if you play through the game casually. I will go through 25 tricks that I believe will make you enjoy the game even more and play like a pro. The video is both for those of you that are new to the game and for those of you that finished it already, in case you missed any of the tricks that I'm about to talk about. Don't worry, there are no spoilers at all. I even removed some tricks about defeating harder enemies so that you can enjoy the thrill of meeting them for the first time in-game. Let's start. Tip number 1. Whenever you find this kind of boss, even if you don't kill him, mark its location on your map. It will later in the game be really useful for making money. Tip number 2. Chests don't respawn ever. However, equipment you find on the ground does. So if you find something really good, you can leave a mark on your map. Trees, fruits, plants and enemies also respawn. Don't worry, if you don't know how to make them respawn yet, you'll find out just by playing the game. When you find all the chests in the shrine, a small icon appears on your map. I recommend trying to get all these chests because some shrines have very useful equipment, such as the climbing gear. Tip number 3. It's very easy to change the time, especially once you get the fire sword. All you need is wood, which you can get from any tree, and then flint, a fire weapon or a fire arrow. If it's raining though, make sure your campfire is under some kind of roof, like for example in a cave or under some construction. Tip number 4. When getting wood or fruits from trees, you can spare the durability of your weapons by using bombs instead. Also, the beam of this sword does not waste any of its durability. It also works on ores. Be careful when using bombs though, because they might send the ore flying away. Tip number 5. Whenever you see ingredients growing on the walls, such as mushrooms or swift violets, try and get them. They'll be really useful later in the game for quests or for upgrading your equipment, and will be really annoying for you having to go around Hyrule just to find them. Tip number 6. Imagine you've climbed this tall mountain, and then when you start paragliding down, you regret it and you want to get back. Well, there are 2 nice tricks to do this. The first involves dying. For example, say I jump down into this water and I get some fishes, and now I want to get back. All I have to do is waste my stamina so that I die. The second way is by saving and then loading. It will also get you back to the top of the mountain, and you will keep all the fish you got. The idea behind this is that the game keeps remembering the last safe ground you were standing on. Water doesn't count as safe ground, neither does climbing nor steep hills. You could even stand on your cryosis platforms and they don't count as safe ground either because they disappear after you reload the game. Other ways to die is by falling into lava or into bottomless pits, but remember it costs you 1 heart. There is a nice tactic to farm the fire dragon scales quickly that involves falling into a bottomless pit. Tip number 7. Using your glider costs a lot of stamina early in the game, but once you find Endura ingredients you can cook one of them for a full stamina refill. This can be extremely useful when trying to reach long distances with the paraglider. It also works when spinning your weapons on enemies, or when climbing very tall walls. Make sure you don't miss the Endura ingredients in all of the fairy fountains. The fairy fountains are great locations to get good ingredients. Tip number 8. Cooked hardy items such as durians will restore all of your hearts with just 1 item. If you find the Pharaon Tower, make sure to pick up all the durians on the mountain to the north of it. There are also bananas to the south of the tower. Mighty items such as bananas give you attack boosts when cooked and could be used for killing bosses. Tip number 9. If you find the origin of this dragon called Farosh, you can then power farm dragon horn shards. These can be used as a cooking ingredient that will extend the buff's duration to 30 minutes. You can set up a campfire to the north inside of the cave so that it is protected from the rain. Then you can make it morning over and over to respawn the dragon. A fire weapon and a zoom bow are strongly recommended. Now you can cook some of the best buffs in the game, as I show you here. Note that you can only have one kind of food-induced buff at a time. Eating another buff will cancel the previous one. Also, 3 is the maximum buff level for all buffs. So for example, having both attack buff from armor and from food is completely useless. Tip number 10. Once you reach Gerudo Town, make sure to snatch the golden bow. This bow is a zoom bow. It shoots farther and zooms the camera when aiming. It's very useful for killing weak enemies such as Octoroks or shooting down ingredients from walls, and it makes the shooting quests much easier. By the way, you don't have to have a full Gerudo set in Gerudo. For example, the Thunder Helm and the Sand Boots are okay too. Let's go and see what the guards think about it. Tip number 11. You can shield surf as soon as you get the shield, but did you know that when you start surfing, it almost doubles your jump length? This can be used in shrines where you can't climb, to solve them easier by jumping over large gaps. Tip number 12. Questing tips. I recommend that you set your map to fixed north. It might be a little counterintuitive at start, but once you get used to it, it will be much easier to memorize the whole map when it doesn't spin around all the time. Did you find anything suspicious looking on the ground? Take a picture of it. Chances are it might be useful later in your quests. Also, when a very shy guy asks you to get crickets, basically all he is asking you is to vandalize the fields. Tip number 13. When using stasis, you can cancel it early to restore time again. This will also consume less cooldown on the rune. Stasis can also be used frequently to detect items easily, as they will shine up when used. Don't forget that you can use stasis on monsters after you upgrade it, making it, in my opinion, the most powerful rune. Tip number 14. When jumping to your cryosis pillar, you can easily break it by accident if you swim under it. If you are getting close to this, make sure to swim backwards so that you don't break it. Tip number 15. Some underwater chests require you to bring a raft. Tip number 16. It is very annoying to climb when raining, and try to avoid this frustration at all costs. However, if the slope isn't completely vertical, you can still climb it easily. Immediately after jumping up, start running. This way, Link won't fall down, and it will grab onto the wall again. Tip number 17. When you need to catch bugs, you can jump while sneaking to move much faster. It won't scare the bugs. However, once you get the stealth set, you can walk freely, and it won't scare them away. Just make sure not to run. Sneak attacks do 8 times normal damage, and are a great way not to waste durability of your weapons. The stealth armor will allow you to easily stealth combo any enemy you want, and you can use stasis to make it even easier. It looks hilarious. If you don't have stasis upgraded yet, and you're having trouble to sneak up, you can use an arrow or a bomb to distract the enemy and set up for a stealth combo. This is definitely my favorite armor, because it allows you to easily pick up all the bugs on your way while traveling through Hyrule, and it makes it much easier to choose your fights, since the enemies will not notice you as easily. It makes it extremely easy to clear areas if you can catch the enemies one by one. Tip number 18. Enemies are usually very predictable, and running in sword first is not always the best idea. See here, on a very simple bokoblin, I still get hit. Instead, you can wait a bit and let him finish his initial attack before you strike. No damage taken. Same with the Lethalfos. I really don't know what he's aiming at, because I don't remember ever getting hit by his jump. And with keys, just stand still. They slow down when reaching you, making them a really easy target. Tip number 19. Once your spears start doing over 20 damage, keep a spear or 2 in your inventory. Half of the Taloses become much easier to kill if you have a spear on you. Tip number 20. If you find a thunder weapon, you can then steal the equipment of the stronger enemies, and they will be much easier to kill. I find the best thunder weapon to keep to be the spear. As you can see, he can't block my attacks with his shield anymore, and he has no weapon to swing at me. Tip number 21. Use stasis on the riders, mostly just because it looks very satisfying. Tip 22. Use horse jump to get airborne, so you can slow down time and easily shoot your bow. Tip number 23. Notice which of your attacks cause knockback. For example, the fourth attack on the sword combo will knock back the enemies. This can be used to your advantage. Here, once I got both enemies in my range, I want to keep them there, so I cancel the combo before reaching the fourth hit by jumping. Also, if you shock the enemies into being stunned somehow, the knockback will cause them to stop being stunned. So make sure you don't knock back the enemies then so that you can keep attacking them. Tip number 24. Don't waste your arrows. They are very useful, but stores just sell a few every time. Apart from buying them at the store, a great way to get arrows is by killing archers, so try to pick them up on your way. And my last tip, keep calm and save. If you really messed up and enemies just stacked up on you and maybe even knocked you down, you can just save and reload. This will reset the enemies to the spawn location with no aggro towards you. Then you can start over or just run away. Worst case scenario, you just teleport to a nearby shrine. And now for a bonus tip. This one is a bug actually. If you use stasis on certain guardians, they will, well, not fight you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a few things. Keep enjoying this awesome game.